So, so yeah, this is an exciting session, and I had the privilege of speaking to all of these fine people over lunch as well. Each of them has built a great brand, and I thought you should hear from them to begin with as to what is it that they've built and how they've gone about it, and then we'll deep dive into questions.
Hello everyone. I am founder of Kleed, and Kleed is today's brand. We are into fashion apparel. We sell men, women, everything. And if you want trend, you want Kleed.
Hi, this is Nitin. I run a business in beauty and personal care space, Nature for Nature. So we are into clean and natural ingredient-based beauty and personal care products, entirely selling across the D2C platforms. And if you're wanting to take care of your skin, you should definitely go ahead and look for Nature for Nature.
Hello everyone, my name is Sandeep Jangala. I am the founder and CEO of YummyBee. So YummyBee is India's first guilt-free cafe QSR chain where all our products are sugar-free, gluten-free and without any preservatives. So we basically are based out of Hyderabad. Our R&D team is based out of Hyderabad. And we have close to around 10 stores in Hyderabad. Recently just picked up a small round, expanding to Bangalore as well as launching our CPG products. So that's it.
Hey, hi everyone. This is Krishna Reddy, co-founder of Nourish. Nourish stands for Superfoods, clean label superfoods, and we are credited with introducing quinoa chia to Indian market, helping farmers to grow. So before that, most of the superfoods are kind of imported. So ours is probably the only local homegrown superfoods. So if you want to be a super version of yourself, use Nourish.
Just loving the hustle we have here on this stage. Let me not go second. So I'm Sreelesh. I go with Sri. I'm co-founder and co-CEO of ZEPIC. We are session sponsors of the session here. We're one of the fastest growing customer experience platforms in the world. At least one of us in this panel uses ZEPIC. The core that we have is we have customer data and customer personalization done in one platform. Unlike other platforms that do email marketing or WhatsApp marketing separately, this is one platform. ZEPIC is one platform that personalizes over multiple channels for your end customers. We are 6 months old in terms of a public product, over 25 customers, and we're seeing a lot of traction, especially with D2C brands like yourselves, and that is why we are actively contributing at IREC here today. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Preetam Chhipa. I am founder of Bagru store, an ethnic wear clothing brand from Jaipur, Rajasthan. So I was interested in textile industry, so I started my brand for a clothing brand. Also, I have completed engineering, so we have started our brand in 2022. So it has been 3 years since I have been in this industry. Thank you.
Great, thanks a lot. So prior to this session, we just had a quick poll amongst the panelists to see who of them have experimented with D2C and who have gone with marketplaces, and everybody has tried out both. So maybe I thought I'll start off a conversation around that, and we could get Preetam to get his view on specifically what would you say are the pros and cons, or give me one pro and one con of starting off a business for any new entrepreneur out there via a marketplace model versus via a D2C model. It could be your story that they could sort of take insights from.
Okay, सो मेरे को लगता है कि मार्केट प्लेस में वी कैन डू ए ग्रेट बिजनेस, बिकॉज स्टार्टिंग में जब हम मार्केट प्लेस से करते हैं तो वहाँ पे हमारे क्या एज ए सेलर अगर हम जाते हैं तो ऑर्डर्स वगैरह काफ़ी अच्छे आ जाते हैं। तो इनिशियली मार्केट प्लेस से अगर हम स्टार्ट करते हैं तो इन्वेस्टमेंट भी काफ़ी कम हमारे को करना पड़ता है। अगर मैं मेरे ब्रांड की बात करूँ बगरू स्टोर की, तो हमने जब पहले हम फेसबुक और इंस्टाग्राम के थ्रू सेल आउट करते थे, बट देन हमने शिफ्ट किया मार्केट प्लेसेस के थ्रू। तो बट वहाँ ब्रांड बनना काफ़ी मुश्किल हो गया था, क्योंकि वहाँ हम एज ए सेलर रह जाते हैं। ठीक है, तो उसके बाद फिर हमने उसके जो मार्केट प्लेसेस के में अगर आपको एडवांटेज बताऊं तो ये है कि हमारे को विजिबिलिटी काफ़ी जल्दी मिल जाती है। ठीक है, और इसके साथ साथ एज ए सेलर जब हम वर्किंग करते हैं तो उसके बाद ऑर्डर्स वगैरह भी काफ़ी अच्छे आ जाते हैं मार्केट प्लेसेस में। और वेबसाइट की अगर मैं बात करता हूं तो वेबसाइट के अंदर क्या होता है, कम से कम 4-5-6 महीने हमारे को वेट करना पड़ता है। ठीक है, उसके बाद हमारा ब्रांड बिल्डिंग स्टार्ट होता है। तो मेरे को लगता है कि मार्केट प्लेस में इनिशियली अगर हमारे पास इन्वेस्टमेंट कम है तो मार्केट प्लेस से स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं। देन उसके बाद में अगर हमारा अच्छा मार्केट प्लेस से हम अच्छा रेवेन्यू जनरेट करें, देन वी कैन गो फॉर वेबसाइट और स्टार्ट D2C ब्रांड। सो D2C ब्रांड के अंदर जो एडवांटेज है ये है कि ब्रांडिंग कंट्रोल हमारे अंडर होता है, हम चाहे उसको अपने अकॉर्डिंग ग्रो कर सकते हैं। एंड तो इसका डिसएडवांटेज मेरे को जो लगता है कौन सी लगता है कि थोड़ा इसमें मार्केटिंग का कॉस्ट काफ़ी ज़्यादा आता है। सो इनिशियली वी कैन डू मार्केट प्लेस, देन वी कैन डू स्टार्ट ए D2C ब्रांड। थैंक यू।
Great. On that itself, I thought maybe Sandeep should also add his perspective, specifically because he's running a QSR chain, and there his marketplace equivalent would be selling your products through the Zomatos and the Swiggis. But you also have your own physical cafe through which you want to grow as well. So now we are talking about marketplace, we are talking about D2C, which is, let's say, direct delivery for you, and we are talking about physical stores for you. So would love to hear your thoughts.
If you are starting off, I would definitely say marketplaces is the place to go. But if you are thinking of a long-term plan, D2C is the best place because you have a direct connect to your customer. Your profitability is much better on the D2C platform than on a marketplace. I think everybody knows the kind of commissions which are being charged and so many other things which go on. Again, for us, there are two different things. You have F&B and you also have the CPG space, right? For us, F&B is very easy to get onto marketplaces. Swiggy, Zomato will run coming after you to onboard your place. But I think me and Krishna were just discussing that it's so difficult now to get onto marketplaces like Zepto, Blinkit. I was also discussing the same thing with you, right? Literally the lead time is now 6 to 8 months to 9 months. So you can't really wait for marketplaces also depending on your product. If suppose you are selling, say, beauty or you're selling CPG, very tough to get into marketplaces. So you have to start building your brand right from day one. Whatever avenues or whatever channels you have, you definitely start pushing them. But overall, marketplaces are the space right now. You have to be there on marketplaces.
Great, thanks. I think another interesting perspective you should hear from here is specifically from Puneet, because he has created what he calls a private marketplace, and maybe you could touch upon what was the logic behind that and how you experimented with the other two channels as well.
So definitely I am also agreeing. I echo their thoughts that if you are, it depends on आपके बैंक में कितने पैसे हैं when you start. If you want to invest, you want to start with a low investment, definitely marketplaces is a way to go. We also did the same. And when you grow, marketplace is actually good for trying out your product for the PMF. If you have the right product, you have the right fit, and you have that confidence now, you can definitely try your own D2C. But when we started, we had a problem because we have 3 brands. Ben, Kleed, iVoke, and Ura Street are our 3 brands catering to very distinct TG group. So we were toying with this idea whether to have 3brand.com. Obviously is very difficult. It's not easy to have your own brand.com and get customers. CAC is going higher day by day. I'm sure all of us will agree here. So that's how we came up with mintobay.com, which is our private marketplace for all these 3 brands. So at one point, we have 3 brands which can service all your requirement. And on top of that, we provide same-day delivery, We provide try and buy. We also provide instant exchange. So these are the additional service that we could do only through our own marketplace and not through these marketplaces. So it was an experiment for us, and we are trying to build Minto Bay right now.
Great, thanks. Thanks a lot. I'd love to get Krishna's perspective. So Krishna, as he told you, has launched organic food and superfood products company. So he is experimenting with marketplaces, selling directly, and of course now with the new wave of quick commerce companies. I wanted your take on pricing, because I think even something, I was just checking out one of your products, I think the pumpkin seeds product across Amazon, Blinkit and your own website. So prices obviously vary. I'm sure people here would like to know who dictates that, and how do you take decisions as to whether it's worth listing on one of these, and when do you want to pull it off?
That's a very tricky question, because what happens is once you start getting on to your D2C, once you start getting on to your marketplaces, most of the partners, whether it's Amazon, they would have a clause that this particular marketplace should enjoy the least price. And should they find another marketplace that has better price, they would warn you, and within a certain time frame, they call it price parity. So it would automatically be lowered. So that's why it's extremely tricky on how you do it. So far, I would say we are moderately successful. So what we have been doing, or maybe the other, the so-called smart brands do, is they have unique SKUs for each marketplace. And it puts a lot of stress on us, because the packaging material gets stuck. So there are a lot of attributes. But having said that, for me, the biggest inspiration in this sector is minimalist, because I cannot even figure out how you could maintain same price across all your marketplaces. That's really tricky. Especially it gets even more tough when you're on the food space.
Just to add to Krishna, right? Pricing, more than pricing, it's the landing price, I think, which is making a lot of difference. The price at which the customer is actually getting the product at, and I think discounts are playing a huge factor, right? Just like how few years back it was like you would go to a store and you would see the price of a product on Amazon, and you would say that, okay, I would probably go home and buy the same product on Amazon. It happens to us a lot where a customer comes from a dine-in. He would see that, oh, okay, on Zomato I have like say 20% off. On the spot he would avail and start paying you, right? Just to give you another example, recently we did this feedback call with all our customers on our website, and we said, why are you dropping out? The number one factor is, I get this at a lesser price on a marketplace, right? So pricing is becoming a huge factor, and as Krishna said, it's very difficult for brands to monitor prices across platforms. And if you're not doing the same thing at the same price, again, you can't compete with the marketplace, the experience, right? So even if it's the same price point, they would prefer a marketplace because they know that the customer service is there, the delivery is going to happen on time, they can give it back, whatever problem is there. But on a D2C, it's a little bit different. So,
Nitin, your thoughts on the same?
So all the marketplaces are discount-led platforms. So there, since you don't control anything vis-a-vis how the customers will interact with you as a brand. So my take on this is very simple, that you need to have a blended approach towards how you intend to sell your brand, or how you intend to sell the product what you're wanting to sell. Because you only can make trust on your website. And the other part of the business, that is the marketplace business, there it's always a discount war. Because as what Krishna said and what he also said, that it's always the price parity, which is because if say you run a deal at Amazon, the Myntra would call you the next subsequent day, the prices are low, that's the reason why we are not able to sell, your visibilities are going haywire, your ROAS has gone down. So they will always attribute everything towards one thing, that's discount. And at the end of the day, this is what starts affecting your profitability. Since you don't own the customer at the marketplace, you will never be able to sell it again. you are at the mercy of the marketplace in terms of whether that person is going to go ahead and buy it, whether that person is ever going to see your product again. If they are remarketing, then only you will see that particular customer will see that product. Vis-a-vis, if we are doing it on our platform, if somebody has bought it for say any price, you can at least reach out to them again. You have that personalized touch with that customer and try and sell it. And that's where the customer acquisition cost and the lifetime value of the customer starts coming into the play, where everybody who I meet will always say that the D2Cs are non-profitable because the customer acquisition cost is high. But again, it's how you look at the customer acquisition cost. The customer acquisition cost is very high on the marketplace also. But since you only look at the advertising spend and say a subsequent organic sales which will come in while you are selling via marketplace, but you don't factor in the returns what you get at marketplace. You don't factor in the commissions what they charge. So plus, since you don't own the customer, you will never be able to reach out to them. But even if I incur a higher cost of acquiring a customer on the initial front on my platform, I still have the authority and the flexibility to reach out to that person again. And if I am able to sell my product and create a ratio of 3:1 versus basically for LTV to the CAC, what I've incurred in the first place, my game is won. So that's the type of longevity which we intend to build with our business also. And that is exactly what we are trying to do in our business, where though we have a higher CAC on the first end when it comes to acquiring a new customer on the platform, vis-a-vis what we do at Amazon or say Myntra, but the repeat rate is only 7.5% at marketplace, vis-a-vis almost 20% for me at my platform. So that's the difference. And if I'm able to take it to 30-35%, my CAC will be, my blended CAC will be much lesser than what I would pay at Amazon. So it's a holistic approach what a brand needs to take when it comes to looking at the numbers, because that's where you will be able to create brand equity also. Because if a consumer is buying from you again and again, that means they have started trusting you. And that's where, as Madhur was also talking in his session when he was launching the playbook, it's all about sharing what you are buying right now. So that's the consumer's psyche, is that whatever they buy, they feel happy about it and they share it with the people around you. So word of mouth, people will start buying from you. And if you're there at that particular point of time via your CRM channels, how you are blending your data and how you are utilizing that data which is coming in on your platform, that's the game. That is the game.
Yeah, Sreelesh, go ahead.
Aniketh, just chiming in here as a consumer, right? So coming into the airport, wishing I could buy something, let's say an airport for a loved one as I'm traveling, seeing the Apple devices in across different stores, right? I feel so confident that, hey, what I pay here is the same thing that I would pay, back at home in the Sydney store, etc., right? So whether in the airport, regardless of which marketplace you're in, like Minimalist, Apple prices the product the same way, right? So as a consumer, I was very comforted. I can go and shop in the airport regardless, because I know the price is going to be the same. Just thinking from a consumer standpoint. And then the other piece was, forget the gentleman who was here before, he mentioned how instead of price, you now see it as perceived value. So I guess control what you can. And what you can control is people coming to your website. So if you can give them more value, whether it is free installation or a free, some sort of extra value. So regardless of whether prices are discounted in marketplaces, they might just come back to you on your website because there's more perceived value that you're offering. In fact, in developed markets, this is a very common phrase. We beat any prices, right? So it's common. Your goods, your services will be cheaper elsewhere because you've got partners who do that, right? So every other marketplace in the developed world, they have this line in the homepage of the website. We beat any price. Come to us. It's a dirty world. But if you think of perceived value and you control your website, your experience with customers, I think you can win. Yeah.
No, those are good points. And I wanted to go back to something Nitin said, and I wanted to get your view on it, which is around customer data specifically. Now, I'm sure through all of their experiences as well, we have seen that customer data now comes through very many disparate sort of sources. So are there tools that entrepreneurs here could use to unify some of that? How do you eventually sort of control the overall experience you're providing, considering the shape and form of delivering the product or service could differ depending on which medium you use?
Absolutely, Aniketh. In fact, there was some gentleman from Jaipur who sold 300,000 orders offline, but he only had under 10,000 customer contacts. I felt so sad for him. Right? 300,000 orders is done, which means maybe even, let's say, 100,000 customers possibly, but he's just got 10,000 contacts in his hands, customer contacts in his hands. And now when he's trying to go digital, he just has those 10,000 to play with, right? So I always say this, before you start business, the first thing that you got to be thinking of is, where can I house my data? So whether it is one customer, that's also very important because that's the person you can learn from and progress from. So there are tools out there. Yes, there are tools out there that house customer data. In fact, you already have them. You know, your Excel sheet is a tool which houses customer data, right? So you already have them. How can you do better with them? Lots of tools out there. Obviously, ZEPIC is also one such tool. But I think the tools help you control and do better with what you can over your website. In fact, even marketplace data. So there are marketplaces that send you, a list of actual orders where they were shipped to. So shipped to addresses is also a piece of data which you should hold carefully, right? So customer data platforms, regardless of the type of data, can be used to house all sorts of data, including product inventory, reviews of customers, all of that data. If you have together, then ideas come to you. For example, there was this customer we helped. They are a travel website that represents a country. Now, they realized that divers who come to their website are 5 times more likely to give their customer data, name, email addresses, right? So because they realized that of all the people who come to my website, divers are 5 times more likely to give their details, ideas came about. Now what I should be doing is more diving related experiences, advertisements out there, then more of revenue happens sooner. So I think data it's cliche, data is the new oil, but it truly is. You have to get data in order, whether you're a one-shop firm or unlike, that gentleman who had 300,000 orders, regardless of where you are in your journey, you should, as early as possible, invest in keeping your data in order.
Puneet, you want to add to that?
No, you are right. Definitely, there are a lot of tools which helps to unify these data, leverage this data to reach the right customer. But the data that is provided by these marketplaces are not much of any use, because obviously वो भी बहुत चालाक है, उनको पता है कि हम data लेके will get those customers to our website, right? So they don't give that much data. Only the addresses that you are talking about, you can hardly get pin codes. But will that help you create a bigger impact in your marketing campaigns? Not much. But the data that is collected through our own website only will help.
So on that note, I was looking at, or you also mentioned that you allow your customers to exchange items when when products are delivered to them, etc.
Yeah.
Right? So if you were to sell through an Amazon versus through your own private marketplace, would the customer get a different experience? And even if your website was selling it, because I think some of the panelists were saying that marketplaces push you to push the price down.
Definitely.
Will they see that perceived value that you're providing with the added experience? And do you still see orders being placed on your platform over?
No, definitely no. When you say that what marketplaces can do, for our website, definitely nothing much, because what we can communicate directly, what services we can never provide through a marketplace. And as rightly said, marketplaces are discount-led brand. Every marketplace will push you to bring the prices down as much as possible. And because the CODB is different in each of the marketplaces, maintaining price parity is also very difficult, especially for fashion, because we are dealing with what? 20,000, 30,000 SKUs at a time. So the price parity is definitely not possible. It's very difficult. And upar se they give rebates and all of that to fight with each other also. Yeah. So having said this, definitely what experience we can provide in our website will have a larger impact on our customers, which will gain us more loyalty and more returning customers rather than marketplaces.
Krishna, do you want to add something on personalization specifically? The channels that you use, are you able to get better feedback from customers, insights from customers to provide a more personalized experience to your set of customers now, and how you look at it going forward as well?
See, the thing at Nourish is we started off predominantly as an offline brand, which basically means that by the time you receive your feedback, proactively, it will take a couple of months. We have been like that for a couple of years, and last 2-3 years, especially for this particular reason, we started prioritizing D2C and of course the marketplaces within which you could not do much. But with D2C, yes, you get a chance to have a direct interaction. And especially we were able to do a little bit more deeper, little bit more personalized with our vegan arm called One Good, which was acquired recently, where the customer has a specific needs. There are subsets within the customer groups, whether it is their vegan milk, whether it's their fresh milk. So only very limited we are able to do, but not much, because of the way in which our entire portfolio is organized. 50% comes from offline, and in the balance 50%, Amazon takes a bunch of the pie. So less than 10% is D2C. That's where we get to play a bit around.
Just to add to Krishna, right? Marketplaces, the data visibility is literally zero. You don't get any kind of customer data, right? Because we are on Zomato, we are on Swiggy, we are on Instamart, we are on literally every marketplace, right? On QuickCom. The visibility of data, like what he said, it's literally zero, right? And for personalization, you need at least a single data point so that you can unify the data, like at least a phone number or at least an email ID or something or the other to unify that data, right? So personalization definitely plays a lot of importance, but as I said, you need to have a large-scale acquisition channel for data. Like a simple example is, I would say the other day I was there at the session at Shoppers Stop, right? The Shoppers Stop loyalty program, right? Amazing platform where they are able to acquire so much of data that they now are able to predict, they are able to create user profiles. They are able to predict what somebody like, say, a Sandeep of certain age group, certain this thing would want to buy, right? But if you're not having access or acquisition channel of data, it is very, very tough to even do personalization, right? Because if you're purely dependent on marketplaces, it's literally, I would say, impossible to basically do this kind of personalization. Shoppers Stop probably is able to do that because their offline retail is so strong, and they have so many customers who avail the loyalty program that they're able to get that data. And because of that, the personas are created, the targeting is done, SMS channels, again, how you market it is a different thing, but again, building that AI model itself, needs a lot of data. And I think that is where, especially if you're starting off, it's very difficult. And loyalty is the only way, like if you look Starbucks, right? The amount of loyalty, the app that they have in terms of the loyalty platform, right? So this plays a huge role for you to even start personalizing. Because that would, I would say, ki any brand which is building has to, at some point of time, start thinking that, okay, how do I get data so that I can help my customers in a much better way, and how I can actually target a similar customer persona, so that he becomes your customer, right? So I think that is actually very, very important.
I'll just add a funny, interesting part. While we crib, and it's a fact that we don't get much data from the marketplaces, but once you hit a critical mass, then most of the marketplaces have some programs where, of course, you have to pay and you get enrolled. But that's when the insights get shared. They would actually tell you, okay, this is great, you have 250 grams, you should look at 2 kg because 3 of your competitors are doing well there. So such insights are possible on the marketplace, pretty restricted. Even the categories that you should enter based on your brand values that you have, even such insights are shared, but that's at an advanced level.
Preetam, go ahead.
Whatever you get out of the marketplaces is only product specific. You will get all the insights you will get is only with respect to how can you sell this product more. You cannot get anything from the marketplaces when it comes to how can you make your brand bigger. So that piece is never going to happen when it comes to the marketplace data sharing or the insight data sharing. Just adding a little bit on the personalization front, it's about how you also read whatever limited data you get on your platform. So there we have to be extremely vigilant in terms of how a customer has interacted with you, and based upon that you can do a couple of tests, A/B tests, what we call about, that's the jargon what everybody uses. So we can do those tests in terms of determining what is the second level of communication which can go to these people, and that can help you create that personalization again. And once that starts kicking in, that's the way forward, and that's the happy space where every brand wants to be.
Just to add to his point, right, like say Swiggy gives you a BI dashboard. So on the BI dashboard, you can actually see which areas your orders are coming from, what is your level of penetration in that particular area, and also how similar brands are performing throughout a city. But you will never get access to personalization data. That helps you understand that, okay, this is a good locality for me to go and probably open a store, or this is where your store is underperforming compared to a competitor. Again, you don't know who is the competitor also. It's just like similar brands. The language is very casual, right? Similar brands. So you really do not know which is the similar brand, but they will just tell you, okay, you are performing at a certain level compared to a similar brand. So again, personalization really doesn't happen, but on an overall level, yes, to a certain extent, you can use that data to kind of, how is it, PIN codes can be used to understand where your orders are coming from. So these kind of things can definitely be done, but personalization again needs a completely different, data path itself. So,
adding on here, definitely with when you get the phone numbers, आप phone पे घुस सकते हो, and that's where all the shopping is happening today. We can send personalized messages, birthday messages, anniversary messages, and lot more events like Valentine's Day or Halloween or any festivities or, and we can definitely send coupons. We can track abandoned carts. A lot of things can be done if you have personalized data, phone number, especially today. And that is absolutely not possible through any of these marketplaces because you cannot get numbers from them.
I'll probably just open it up for a couple of questions. I think we are running short of time now.
Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you.
My name is Amar from Lumios. We are a cybersecurity company in UAE. So basically मुझे ये जानना था कि सभी के ऑलरेडी वेबसाइट्स है, तो क्या आपको पूरे कंप्लायंस इस प्रोसेस में डेटा जो GDPR अभी यूरोपियन कंट्रीज़ में हो रहा है और इंडिया में अगले 27 तारीख को चालू होने जा रहा है, तो आप जो कस्टमर का डेटा अपने स्टोर पे अपने अमेज़ॉन सर्वर्स पे आप रख रहे हो या आपके पास रख रहे हो, उसके कंप्लायंसेस में आपको कौन से प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे हैं या उसके लिए आप क्या कर रहे हो? क्योंकि एक भी कस्टमर का डेटा अगर जाएगा तो मिनिमम कॉस्ट है 5 CR फॉर पेनल्टी फॉर DPDP, तो उसके लिए आप क्या कर रहे हो? थैंक यू।
अगर मुझे बोलना है तो सी हम लोग एज अ D2C ब्रांड वी आर वेरी मच डिपेंडेंट ऑन थर्ड पार्टी people to basically maintain the data, right? Like for example, even if I do direct to consumer, I am building it on Shopify or some other third party tool, right? You really don't do it by yourself. You don't actually, you know, have your own databases or any kind of thing. So I think at least for us, it is not something in terms of data thing. It's not a relevant thing, but I think probably anybody in the panel who is actually doing it by themselves, I think that would make a lot of sense for them too.
क्योंकि मोस्ट ऑफ टाइम आप अपने बिजनेसेस पे ध्यान दे रहे हो, बट ये चीज़ आपका बाकी का जो ध्यान खींच सकता है, बाद में ये प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट हो सकता है। ये सबसे बड़ी चीज़ें जो कि यहाँ पे ध्यान देना चाहिए, क्योंकि DPDP बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रिक्ट हो रहा है, जो कि GDPR ऑलरेडी यूरोपियन कंट्रीज़ में आपने जो मतलब जो भी US के बेस में ऑलरेडी कस्टमर सर्व कर रहा है, SOC 2 टाइप 2 या बाकी के भी चीज़ें, तो उनको पता होगा कि ये इंडिया में जैसे आएगा वो प्रोसेस, अगर आप थर्ड पार्टी को कोई भी एप्लीकेशन आप यूज़ कर रहे हो तो उसको कंसेंट और बाकी के प्रोसेस के लिए KYCs के लिए अगर आप जा रहे हो, कोई भी इंटरनल पिन कोड से लेके कोई आधार कार्ड का स्टेटमेंट लेना है, तो उसके लिए आज से KYC डॉक्यूमेंट के लिए थर्ड पार्टी के लिए OTP स्टार्ट किया RBI ने, तो वो उस पर आपका बिजनेस का कितना इम्पैक्ट पड़ सकता है? ये मेरा सेकंड क्वेश्चन है, प्लीज़।
Yeah, obviously every software or a customer data holding system needs to adhere to all local laws. So that is that's a no, you cannot say no to it. So whether it is you trying to, okay, there is definitely a challenge for any software maker or holds customer data to be on top of these regulations for every country. That's definitely a challenge, what has to be done. But I think the government and the people who make these laws provide enough leeway and time for you to get to that point. GDPR was not announced so suddenly, right? It took at least a year or two.
8 year, approx 7 to 8 years, GDPR.
Yes, so similarly, even this, whatever we have with India, there is time. There is time to get to that. In fact, even the finance sector is really looking deep into it. We're speaking to financial companies as well. They have studied all of this, and they have also decided a pathway which respects these laws. So the software maker, for sure, because they hold the data, needs to be ISO compliant, SOC 2, etc. Right? But I think with them, they are dependent on the people who are housing their customer data.
Yes.
तो बेसिकली हमको एक अच्छा राइट सर्विस पार्टनर ढूंढना है.
Yes.
इफ दे आर कंप्लायंट वी आर सेफ.
Yes. जब भी बंदा लॉगिंग करता है ना, तो उसके नीचे टाइम आप एग्री करते हो ना, तो उसके अंदर जो रूट प्रोसेस, क्योंकि मैं उस कंसल्टेंसी प्रोसेस में और उसमें हो, तो वहाँ पे आपको वो चीज़ डालना चाहिए. अमेज़ॉन का अगर आपने पूरा प्रोसेस देखा तो वो चीज़ है, बट मोस्ट ऑफ द ब्रांड्स ये चीज़ करना मतलब भूल जाते हैं. तो कस्टमर ने ऑलरेडी कंसेंट दे दिया कि भाई मेरा डेटा आप यूज़ करो, तो उससे आपको प्रॉब्लम सॉर्ट आउट हो जाएगा वहाँ पे. तो वो चीज़ पे आपको ध्यान देना चाहिए. रादर आप जो चीज़ बाकी का भी जो चीज़ मतलब आप टेक टीम ऑलरेडी कर रही होगी. Yes, please, sir.
On the consent level coming in for the website, that is already there. So if we use Shopify as a platform, so I as a brand owner cannot use their email or their phone number to market them if they haven't given me a consent. That's very clear. So that is still in process, and that is we follow as a brand also.
नहीं, वो चीज़ आपको, बट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम आप थर्ड पार्टी को अगर दे रहे हो ना, तो वो थर्ड पार्टी उसका यूटिलाइजेशन कर रहा है.
Again, then the third party will only get that data which is consented from the customer. So that is already there on Shopify's privacy policies. So
I think
any customer who has given a consent, that data is only passed on. And that data is only used for remarketing purposes. If somebody has not given the consent, that anyways does not go. So that processes in terms of compliances are already there. So whenever the new compliances come in place, we will definitely have a look at it, because at the end of the day, as a brand owner, we have to be vigilant of what is happening on the ecosystem and and we will have to abide by the laws. That's the no-brainer.
नहीं, हमें उसके साथ ही चलना
उसी के साथ चलना है,
आगे
तो उसमें कोई वो है नहीं.
We had one more question there, so we'll end it post that.
Thank you. So I think the panelists beautifully emphasize the value of data and the value it can add to control over the customer journey on the D2C front. I would love to pose my question to probably Sri. In the age of data, what about the role of third-party channels? So for example, retail media networks, they house a lot of data around customer journey and preferences. Are there tools and platforms or approaches today that can help in brands in harnessing that data and engaging customers?
Yes, retail media networks are a phenomenon which is slowly catching up here in India as well. So this is where you have big companies, marketplaces, right, who have lots of data about their customers, and they're now advertising to these customers, and they're also allowing brands to advertise to these customers. So Nourish, you could advertise, on Paytm to a whole bunch of customers in Paytm. Now, there are platforms that work with these marketplaces to have even more efficiency with the advertisements that you do. So, given the opportunity, ZEPIC is a partner which works with such retail media networks to provide even more efficiency to the advertisements that you place with these marketplaces. How we do that? You might have an ad, click, and someone comes to your website, and today that would be it. But with ZEPIC, you are also able to continuously go through the journey with the customer. If that customer adds something to the cart, even from the marketplace, you can use ZEPIC to actually encourage that add to cart to become a converting paying customer. So there are tools which work with retail media networks, of which ZEPIC is one, that increases the chances of conversions from any advertisements that you do on the marketplaces. This is obviously also dependent on the marketplace as to how much data they will share with someone like a ZEPIC. So they might not share it with brands directly, but with technology players like ZEPIC, they would, to increase the efficiency of the advertisements that brands do on marketplaces.
One quick follow-up question, if there. So what are the various sources of customer data or flavors of customer data? So we often just have a very parochial focus on customer journeys and probably click streams. But what are other avenues of first-party data sitting with a brand that brands can leverage? Probably anyone can answer.
Yeah, it's not just name, phone number, right? That's obvious, which is there in an Excel sheet. But there's behavioral data. What are they doing on your website? There's transactional data. What all have they bought from you? There is third-party data. What tickets have they raised with your support team? There is journey-based data, whether it is they coming in through an Instagram ad and then maybe browsing a few pages, then coming again because of an email campaign that you did to them. So there's a lot of data, and that's why I'm passionate about encouraging businesses to hold the data, even those PIN codes, by the way, right? So if you know for a fact that through a marketplace you're getting a lot of orders for a particular item in that PIN code, then you have an existing database which you can mail out and say, this is very popular in your area, and just for you guys, here's something off to encourage you to experience it even more. So there's a lot of data that you can use, not just name, phone number, email address, behavioral, transactional, customer journey, and a platform it's almost like set and forget. You can have platforms that you set and forget it, then all the data is just automatically logging against the customer profile. which you can use for segmentation and action.
Adding on to this data also helps us for post-purchase reviews. It's very important to know the customer feedback after the sale has happened. So yeah, we can just directly call them or get to know what's wrong, which helps us definitely improve our product or service. So at Mintobay, whenever we deliver quickly or give instant exchange, which probably many websites don't do, they just love that fact that they don't have to, it's a hassle-free return or exchange. We immediately take return or we wait at the doorstep and we give instant refund also. So this kind of services, after giving this, we definitely call them and we take their feedback. So that is also, and it helps us retarget them later.